Okay. So, very good afternoon to all of you. Now, in this lecture, actually, we are going to start our actual syllabus contents. Okay. So, before starting the actual content of the syllabus, let me first revise that whatever the things you are studied in database management system. Okay. So first of all, we are going to see that what is meant by database. Okay. So database is a collection of data, right? And that data are stored in the central location or in a multiple location, right? So that is called as a database. Okay. So before starting the actual content of your syllabus, let me revise the whatever the things we have studied in database management system subject. Okay. So already I'm going to discuss that the course prerequisite is what. So before learning this course, the student must know that database management system concepts. Okay. So in by database, so database is a collection of data, and the data are stored in central location or multiple location. Okay. So simply you can say that database is a collection of data. Okay. Then moving to the next, what is meant by management system? So management system is a system which handle the data stored into the database. Okay. So database management system means what? It is a software for creating, storing, maintaining, and accessing the database files. Okay. So what I am saying at here. So what is meant by database management system? So database management system, it is a software. That software are used for creating, storing, maintaining, and accessing the database files. Okay. So makes the use of database more efficient. For that, we are going to use that DBMS. So which are the DBS and softwares are available? So the most of the commercial database softwares are like MySQL, DB2, right? Then SQL Server. So all these are the database management softwares, right? So you all are the familiar with that relational database softwares. So that is a overview of what is meant by database and what is meant by database management system. Okay. So moving to the next thing. So how the interaction can be done between the DBMS and the database. Okay. So how user can make the request. Okay. In the user side, and DBMS can return the information to the user. So see at here how the interaction can be done between the user, DBMS, and the database. So DBMS is a software. Okay. Here DBMS is a software. That software allow to store, manage, or you can say that these softwares are used for handle the activities, whatever the activities we are going to perform in a database. Okay. So the how the interaction can be done between the user and the DBMS and the database. So see at here in this diagram, so user can make the request for the information. Okay. So whatever the data can be required to the user, so user can make a request for that information to the DBMS. Okay. So what the DBMS can be done? So DBMS search into the database. Whatever the request can be given by the user, So DBMS can play the intermediary role between database and user. So DBMS can search the database, okay, and according to the client request, if that information can be present in the database, so DBMS retrieve that information from the database and return the information to the user. Okay guys, clear? Understood? So DBMS play intermediary role between user and database. So DBMS is a software. Okay, DBMS is a software. That software handle the activities of storing, retrieving, maintaining the database. Okay, so how the interaction can be done? So user can make the request for the information to the DBMS. DBMS search that according to the request, DBMS search that information into the database. If the information is present into the database, so DBMS retrieve that information and return the information to the user. Okay guys, clear? Yes? Please reply. Vaishali? Yes, Vaishali Sule?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Clear?
Yes, ma'am. Got it.
Okay, fine. So then we are going to moving to the next thing. So then we are going to go actual our unit number first, that is database system architectures. Okay, so architecture for the DBMS are similar to those for the general computer system architecture. As like you already studied that centralized architecture, client server architecture, distributed architecture, right? So such types of architecture we are going to see in your unit number first, that is database system architectures. Okay, so these are the contents of this chapter. So first of all, we are going to see that what centralized and client server system. The first architecture is centralized and client server architecture. So you all are the familiar with that client server architecture and centralized architecture. In the client server architecture again consists of the 2-tier and 3-tier client server architecture. Okay, so that things we are going to learn in the content number first. Then the second is a server system architecture. Okay, so how server can be behave in the server, again they are having different types of servers are there, transaction server and data server. So that things we are going to learn in the second content, that is server system architecture. Then the third point of the syllabus chapter is parallel system. So nowadays, so everything can be done in the parallelly. So that things we are going to learn in the parallel system. Again, the new concept is the data can be stored in the distributed manner. So the distributed system, right? One of the architecture we are going to see at here, distributed system. In the distributed system, we are going to see that how the distributed database. Okay, so in the distributed database again consists of two types, that is homogeneous distributed database and the next is a heterogeneous distributed database. Okay, so how that database can be stored in among the distributed systems, homogeneous and heterogeneous. These database can be seen into the point of distributed database. Okay, then how that data can be stored among the parallel system or also in the among the inner distributed system architecture. So how that homogeneous distributed database or heterogeneous distributed database are stored. Okay, so that things we are going to learn in the distributed data storage. Then we are going to perform the transactions. Okay, so insert the data, update the data, retrieve the data. Okay, insert, update, delete. So whatever that we are going to perform some operations on that. So when you storing the data into the distributed manner, so how we can perform the operate transactions on that. Okay, so that things we are going to learn in the distributed transactions. Okay, then moving to the next point, that is commit protocol. Okay, after successfully performing a transaction, so then we have how the commit protocol can be work among the distributed system, right? So that things we are going to learn into the commit protocol. Then next is a concurrency control in a distributed database. How the concurrently the different transactions can be performed, and how we are going to perform that concurrency control in a distributed database. So that things we are going to learn in this point. Then availability. Okay, if how we can if you suppose if you have to perform some transaction, okay, so that time how the data can be available, the data can be distributed among the different way. So how this can be available to the when you performing any transaction, how that data can be available, so that availability can be seen at here. Then distributed query processing. When you fire a query for retrieving something, so that time how the distributed query can be processing. Okay, and the next heterogeneous distributed database. So that things we have learned in the distributed database, how but how the heterogeneous distributed database are works. So that things we are going to learn in the last point of this chapter, that is heterogeneous distributed database. Okay guys, so these are the content of this chapter. In that we are going to learn the different database system architectures. Okay, so in that the first database architecture is, so see at here I am going to note down the question bank. Okay, so these are the questions were asked in your university examination. Okay, so the first, explain the working of 2PC protocol and handling for the suit failure into the 2PC protocol. Okay, so these 2PC protocol actual practical things we are going to learn afterward, but these questions will be asked in the examination for the 10 marks. Okay, then second is draw the diagram of system architecture and explain its component. Okay, so the transaction manager and transaction coordinator. Okay, so these two points in the ask in the examination for the system architecture. This question is asked for the 5 marks. Then explain the two types of fragmentation. Okay, so then distributed lock manager, majority protocol, bias protocol. Okay, so here I am going to find out that which are the questions were asked in the university examination. These questions will be noted down at here in a question bank. Okay, so after successful means after completion of this chapter, here I am going to given that question bank to you. Okay, fine. Then moving to the what is meant by database architecture. Okay, so here in this chapter we are going to see that different database architecture, right? But before seeing that what is meant by database architecture, before seeing that different architecture, the first thing that we are going to see that what is meant by database architecture. Okay, so a database architecture is a representation of DBMS design. How the DBMS can be designed. Okay, so it helps to design, develop, implement, and maintain the database management system. Right. So what is meant by database architecture? Database architecture, what they has to be represent, how you can design a DBMS. Okay, so it helps to means database are whether your database is a distributed system architecture, if whether your database is a parallel, so in that every architecture in that we can store the data in differently You can perform some operations are differently. You can fire the query are differently, right? So database architecture is a representation of DBMS design. Okay, so whether it is a centralized, so centralized as like a centralized thing, we can store, retrieve, and manage that data. If whether that architecture is a client server architecture, so according to the client server architecture, we are going to store, manage, and handle that DBMS. So database architecture means it is a representation of DBMS design. Okay, so this database architecture helps to design, develop, implement, and maintain the database management system. Okay, database management system means what? So it is a software that handles all the activities are related to database, right? Or that software manage the database. We can say that software manage the database. So that is called as a database management system. So database architecture is a representation of database management system design. Okay, if your architecture is centralized, so according to that DBMS has to be designed. If your architecture is a client server architecture, so according to that DBMS has to be designed. So all of you are getting this, what is meant by database architecture? Yes guys, please reply. Yes, Akshada. Akshada, are you getting? Are you there?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So, are you getting the concept of database architecture? What is meant by database architecture?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So, database architecture is a representation of DBMS design. Okay. Then moving, we are going to proceed. The first architecture, that is centralized computer system architecture. Okay, so today we will talk about different database architecture. So this is very important topic in the DBMS. The first database architecture is a centralized computer system architecture. Okay, so this architecture for the DBMS are similar to those the general computer system architecture. So see guys here. In earlier, mainframe computer were used to process all the system functions. Okay, in earlier days, see, older architecture used means in the older architecture, the mainframe computer to provide the main processing for all the system function, including user application, interface program, and as well as the DBMS functionality. Everything in a single machine. Okay, so that is called as a what? Centralized. In a centralized DBMS architecture, you have one system, one database, and one application, interface application. Everything on a single machine. Everything on a single machine. The entire service and a single machine, and you can access the machine directly. You can go through that machine. Guys, got it? So see at here, whatever I am saying, in earlier means before that centralized computer system architecture introduced, in earlier mainframe computers were used to process functions, system function can be performed or processed using mainframe computer. So user can access system via computer terminal. Okay, so see at here, they're having one machine and other terminal can be connected at there and provide only display capability but no processing capability. Means as like a dumb terminal, right? That dumb terminal only provide the request. Okay, they're having no capability of the processing, only display capability are there, but the not processing capability. Processing perform remotely on the other computer system. Okay, means as like a dumb terminal, other dumb terminal can be connected via a dumb terminal having no functionality at all. So you use it, make it network support, and using dumb terminal you can access the data. So it is also called as a one tier type of computer system. Only display information sent to terminal, and the prices of hardware are declined. So terminal can be replaced by the PCs and workstation. These things I am discussed in the previously before centralized computer system has to be introduced. In earlier, mainframe computer were used for process the system function. Before introducing a central computer system. Guys, I am talking about before introducing the centralized computer introduced होण्याच्या अगोदर कसं सिस्टीम एक्झिक्युशन व्हायचं तर mainframe computers were used for process the functions. Okay, user can access either only computer terminal, that user having only display capability. फक्त त्या मशीन वरती काय that client side only display the things. Okay, but no processing capability. Okay, so processing are performed remotely on the computer system. Okay, in the only in the terminal side only display the information can be said, but all these can be required the large number of hardwares, right? So but prices of hardwares are replaced by PCs and workstation. Okay, so what is meant by centralized system? In centralized system, it is the simplest architecture of the database in which client server, database, all are reside on the same machine. See, in a suppose your laptop. Okay, so in that laptop you have some Oracle SQL server, okay, MySQL DBMS. Okay, and by using that tool is a MySQL tool is your user interface. You can fire a query to the through DBMS, and whatever the tables are stored in that database, you can retrieve that information. Means your client is the same machine, your server is also same machine, and the database are also reside on that same machine, right? So that machine can be called as a centralized system. Got it? Yes, guys. Centralized DBMS architecture, you have one system, one database, and one application. Everything on a single machine. Got it? Everything on a single machine. That is called as a centralized system architecture. Client is also same machine, server is also in the same machine, and database are also stored in the same. Or means everything all can be reside on the same machine. So that is called as a centralized system. The entire service and a single machine. Okay, so you can access the machine directly, go to that machine. You can write a query, right? And that query can be passing through the DBMS and retrieve the information from the database, and again send back a reply to same to the same machine. Got it? Please reply. Centralized system architecture concept is got it? Clear? Yes. Yes, Yogesh, Akshay. Akshay.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So clear the concept of centralized system. Centralized system means what? Your client, server, and database all can be reside on the same machine. Got it? Okay. So run on single computer system and do not interact with the other computer system, right? So already I am said that in the centralized system architecture, the client server database all are reside on the same machine. So due to that, everything can be run on the single computer system and do not interact with the other computer system. For example, in a single user database system running on your as like your personal computer, right? This is an example of centralized system architecture. Your PCs, your workstation, your laptop, and everything, your personal computer can be act as a centralized system architecture. So it is a single user database system running on your personal computer. So see at here, this is your personal computer having a CPU. Disk controller can be control that disk. USB controller can be control that your devices as like mouse, keyboard, and printer. And again, the graphic adapter, it is also the monitor. So everything they can share their memory, means runs on the single computer system, single user database system running on the personal computer. Your personal computer, in that personal computer having a database, okay, database management software. So this can be act as a centralized system architecture, means your client, your server, and your database, everything can be reside on the same machine. Okay, so that is called as a centralized system architecture. Okay, so this is a general. Okay, so on to a few processor, you can add the processors. More processors are also in the same machine. 1 to few processors are also there. Add the number of device controller, okay, as like a disk controller, and that you can add one or more device controllers on that same machine, and that are connected through common bus. So see at here, CPU, disk controller, USB controller, and that monitor. So all these has to be connected through what? Common bus that provide the access of memory. By using this bus, means CPU, disk controller, USB controller, and that monitor, everything can access that memory. So how they are connected? They are connected through this common bus, right? That common bus provide the access of shared memory, right? CPU can also share the memory, disk controller can also share the memory. USB, in that USB there is no need to the memory, but that monitor, everything can be connected to the memory through common bus. Okay, and all they are can be access the memory, right? So this is a centralized system architecture. Then the processor have okay, see at here, this is a your workstation or your laptop. That processor have the local cache memory, and that store the local copies of the part of this memory, right? So everything in a single machine, right? So your data can be storing into that memory, your workstation memory, so it can be fastly accessed, so speed up the access to the data, right? Each processor may have several independent cores, each of which can execute and separate instruction stream. Okay, suppose if in the single machine having the multiple processor, so the each processor may have the several independent cores. So according to that, when you access some data, you can if you have to fire some query, so each can be each of which can be execute in the separate instruction stream. Okay, so each controller, here I am talking about processor. Okay, if they're having multiple processor on a single user system, in a single system, so that time each processor may have the several independent cores. But if each controller, see guys, students, here in this diagram, sorry, see here, if they're having multiple processor, if they're having multiple controllers, Okay, so each controller is in a charge of specific type of device. What is the what the controller they do? Controller can be control the disk. Controllers are also control that input output devices. Okay, so what are the charge has to be given by that controller? So according to that, that specific device is controlled by that controller. So each controller is a charge of specific type of device. Okay, suppose the one of the controller having a charge of printer, so whatever the print request can be put by the user, so all these can be controlled by that print controller. Okay, means printer device is controlled by that controller. So each controller is in a charge. प्रत्येकाला काहीतरी चार्ज असाइन केलाय की एखादं स्पेसिफिक डिव्हाइस कंट्रोल करणं. Okay, so each controller is in a charge of specific type of device. The processor and the device controller can execute concurrently and competing for the memory access. Processor can be worked differently. Device controllers can also execute differently. So both having some memory access. So at that time they can execute concurrently and competing for the memory access. Okay, as like who can access firstly, so according to that they can execute their task. Okay, execute that request, and the processor and the device controller can execute concurrently and competing for the memory access. Here in this diagram I am saying see at here, this common memory can be accessed by processor, can be accessed by the disk controller, or can be accessed by these input output devices. Everyone can share this memory by using this common bus, right? So here I am saying that both means processor and the device controller, they want that memory access, they can execute their task concurrently and competing for the memory access. Okay, so computer are used in two way. See, the general centralized system architecture, that computers are used in the two ways: single user system or multi-user system. In the single user system, as like your personal computer or workstation, so as like your desktop unit usually has only one CPU and one or more hard disk, and the OS and single OS or multiple OS are there. The OS may support only one user. Okay, so this is a single user system. Your personal computer, you can say that your desktop unit, your laptop, so, these can be categorized under single user system. So in that, having only one CPU and one or more hard disk are there, but and multiple OS are also supported for that, but that OS may support only one user. The next is a multi-user system. So in a multi-user system, more disks are there, more memory, multiple CPUs, multi-user OS. See, single मध्ये फक्त काय, single user system consists of only one system, but multi-user system consists of more disks, more memory, multiple CPU processors, and multi-user operating systems. म्हणजे that operating system can support multiple user, and so the large number of users who are connected to the system, to the terminal, and often called as a server system. You all are familiar with that centralized server are there and other client can be access that server, right? So in a multi-user environment, more disks are there, more memories are there, multiple processors are connected at there, and they can, that OS can be support the multi-user environment, right? So in the centralized system architecture, that computer are single user system or the multi-user, but main thing can be keep it at the mind at here, centralized system. Okay, decentralized DBMS architecture, it you have one system, one database, and one user interface application, everything on a single machine. Okay, means the entire service and the single machine, So you can access that data. You can sitting on that machine directly and go to access it. Okay, so this is your personal computer, workstation, laptop. So this is called this architecture is a centralized system architecture. Okay, then moving to the next type of architecture, that is client server architecture. Okay, the first architecture is clear. Please put it into the comment box. Yes, guys. First architecture is clear. See, very simple. Everything are in a single machine. Your database, your application software, or your DBMS, everything on a single machine. So that is a centralized system architecture. Okay, clear? Okay, fine. Then we are going to moving to the next type of architecture, that is client server system architecture. So client server system architecture is computing model in which the server host deliver and manage most of the resources. So you all are familiar with that. So what is meant by client, what is meant by server, right? So you all has to be know that how this architecture will be work, right? So students, a client is a machine. What is meant by client? So client, anyone? Which machine can be called as a client? Yes, guys. Anyone? Please unmute your mic and tell me what is meant by client machine. What is client? Yes, Gayatri. Gayatri Dikshit, am I audible? Yes, Gayatri. Are you there? Okay, Gayatri is there. Okay, fine. So client is a machine. It is a user machine that provide user interface capability and the local processing. Client is a user machine. Client is a user machine that provide user interface capability. Okay, interface means how we are going to interact with that server. So that interface capability in the user side, client side, and that local processing means that is just I said the client machine provide user appropriate interface to utilize the server, right? So client machine can be utilized at server capability. Server means what? Server is also one of the machine that provide the services to the client machine. Server is the machine that provide the services to the client machines, means like the access to file, access of the database, access of the printing, okay, etc. So these services are provided by the server machine, right? So the client server architecture is a computing model in which server host deliver and manage most of the resources and services to be consumed by the client. Client server is a machine provide the services. Okay, which type of services? They can allow the client to access the file. They can allow the client to access the database. They can allow the client to printing something, right? So when it is suppose client, when it is received a request, it does something. Okay, server client कडून आपण काय client can send the request to the server. Okay, so server, it when receive a request, it does something and return the response. Okay, it return the response. So here the different types of servers are available are there. file server, print server, web server. Okay, so we are going to see in the afterward. So this type of architecture has one or more client computer and connected to the central server over the network or internet connection. See guys, see at here in this diagram, you have to get clear the idea about that. Here in this type of architecture consists of one or more clients, and all these clients are centrally connected to the server, right? So client machine is a user machine that provide the user interface capability, and you can perform some local processing. Means that is just I said the client machine provide the user appropriate means from in this machine. So whatever, if you have to require some database, any file and anything, so you can send a request to the server. Okay, when it receive a request, okay, client can send a request to the server. When the server receive a request, it sends something, means it process that request, it does something and return the response to the client side. Okay, so see at here in this diagram, here the multiple clients are there, and that clients can be connected to the server through network. See, this line can be how that client can be connected to the server through network. Okay, so this type of architecture has one or more clients computer, and these one or more client computers are connected to the central server over the internet network or internet connection. So server system satisfy the request generated at M client system. M is number of clients we are going to connect it to the server. Okay, so client machine send a request to the server, and server can process that request and send back the result to the client side. So standards such as ODBC, JDBC, that things we already learned in the database management system, right? So when you're accessing that data, the ODBC, Open Database Connectivity, JDBC is used in the when you're using the Java platform. Okay, so standards such as ODBC, JDBC can be used to interface client with server, right? Because one or more client computers are connected to the central server through network or internet connection. So when you sending a request to the client's server side, so that time there is need of connection. Okay, how you can communicate with the client? So by using ODBC, Open Database Connectivity, or by if you are using a Java platform, so that time JDBC. Okay, that things can be used at here. Okay, then moving to the next point, that is database functionality can be divided into two parts. Okay, backend and front end. Database functionality can be divided into two parts, that is backend and front end. Okay, so in the backend side, you can manage access the structure. Okay, how the data can be stored, that you can manage that structure. Then query evaluation, query optimization, then the multiple transaction can be executed, other that concurrency control and the recovery of that database. So everything, that functionality can be happen in the backend side. Okay, so database functionality can be divided into two end. First end is a backend, and next is a front end. Backend manage the access structure. Okay, then query optimization, query evaluation, then concurrency control and the recovery. Okay, so that things are happen in a backend side, and in the case of front end side, it consists of the tools. Okay, so after retrieving output of that query, such in the form of forms, report writers, and the graphical user interface capability. Okay, from front end, you can write suppose in the Oracle, if you have to write a query, right? So this is your request. Okay, so this query can be sending to the backend, to the DBMS. Okay, so this query can be optimized, execute, and appropriate results sent back to the front end side. Right. So it consists of front end side like I still in the front end side consists of tools. Okay, such as forms, report असतील किंवा graphical user interface facility असेल. Okay, so these all that taken in the front end side. In the back end side, so all the database can be the database structure can be managed, query optimization, query execution, query evaluation. Then if the multiple transactions can be happen, then concurrency control and the recovery, all that thing can be done in that functionality can be happen in the back end side. So see at here in this diagram. So SQL server interface. Okay, this is the front end. Okay, SQL server when you using the DBMS. So SQL server interface, form interface, report generation interface tool, data mining and data analysis tools still. So all these are in the front end side. By using this front end, so we are going to write a query, right? We are going to writing a query and fire through this SQL API. This is the interface. Okay, and this has to be sending to the SQL engine. So SQL engine, what they have to do? So whatever the requests are sending from the front end, right? Process that query. Okay, so and also at the time of multiple transactions are there, then also perform that concurrency and recovery and managing and all that thing can be done by using that SQL engine. So whatever the request can be sending by using SQL server, SQL user interface means here we are writing that SQL query and firing at there that SQL engine at the back end. Process that query, right? Process that query and send a result. So like this way, this is a client server architecture. The interface between the front end and back end is through SQL or through the application program interface. See here, this in my end, the interface between front end and back end is through SQL or an API, application program interface. So by these are the in between, means front end and back end. The interface is SQL or API. So this is the thing, but again you all are the familiar with that the 2-tier architecture and 3-tier architecture of client server system. So this is a basic structure. This is a second type of architecture, that is client server architecture system. Okay, so all of you are getting this? Yes guys, please put it into the comment box. Clear? Yes, Jitendra, Preeti, Manashri. Yeah, Jitendra, are you getting? Manashri, clear? If you have any doubt, please put it into the comment box. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Then moving to the next point, that is server system architecture. So here, your server system architecture can be broadly categorized into two kinds. Your server system architecture can broadly categorize into two parts, that is transaction server, that is also called as a query server. Okay, so whatever you are firing a query, okay, so that can be processed at the transaction server. And the second server system is data server. Here they're having your actual data, right? So your server system architecture can broadly categorize into two parts: transaction server, that is also called as a query server, and the second server is data server. Okay, so first of all, we are going to see that what is meant by what is a transaction server. So already I am going to say that transaction server is also called as a query server. Okay, query server system or the SQL server system. Here, client can send a request to server. Client is having the user interface. So client can send a request to the server. Transaction are execute at the server side. See, client can only send a request, writing a query, right? And that transaction are executed at the server side and process that transaction and result are shifted back to the client. Got it? Query server system, it is a SQL server system. In that transaction server, what happen? Client can send a request to the server. Client send a request to the server. Transaction are executed at the server side. Okay, and after performing that transaction, whatever the results has to be got, that results are shifted back to the client side. Okay, so like this way, the requests are shifted in SQL and communicate to the server through remote procedure call. So that is called as RPC. You are familiar with that, RPC, remote procedure call. So request means client and server can communicate with each other. So client can send a request to the server, okay, in the form of SQL query, okay, writing a query. So whatever the things we are writing in the query, so that transaction are executed at the server side, okay. So after executing that transaction, whatever the result can be got by the server, so that results are shifted back to the client side. So all these communication, means client server communication, can be done through the RPC. You all know that, remote procedure call mechanism. Okay. So open database connectivity, ODBC. You all are familiar with that. So ODBC, a C language application program interface that are standard from the Microsoft for connecting to the server and sending the SQL request and receiving the result. Right? Already I am talking about that. All the clients are connected to the server via network or internet connection. So when the clients are communicate with the server, so there is need of the connectivity. So how we are going to connect with the server? By using ODBC. So what is meant by ODBC? Open database connectivity. Right. So this open database connectivity is the C language application program that is interface standard is developed by the Microsoft. So these are used for connecting to a server. Client are connected to the server through ODBC. Okay, and by using that ODBC, you are going to sending a SQL request. Okay, and that transaction are performed executed at the server side, and again server send result back to the client side. Okay, but who can done this? This remote procedure call means all the requests are specified in the SQL format, means you are writing a query, right? But that communicated to a server through RPC, but there is need of open database connectivity, right? So by using ODBC, the client are connected to the server, okay, and client are send a request for sending a SQL request, and whatever the things we are writing in that SQL request, that transaction are executed at the server side, okay, and after executing that transaction, so whatever the results can be find out by the server, so that result are shifted back to the client side. Okay, but how it can be done? By using ODBC connectivity. So JDBC, already I am discussed that the JDBC standard is similar to the ODBC, but that JDBC for Java. Okay, so see at here, actual what we have to say, actual transaction server, how it can be operated. So see at here. So here the user processes are there. User, see student. Here I am, here is arrow, that is a user process. User process means a client, right? Client can be connect to the server processes through ODBC or JDBC, right? Client can be sending a request using user interface. Here is the client machine, user processes. That user processes are connected to the server processes through ODBC or JDBC, right? In a server side, again, they're having buffer pool, log buffer, log table, checkpoint, log writer, and they can share that memory and database writer processes, and means concurrency control things can be happen at here. They can provide the lock to that particular transaction. Okay, according to the priority and everything, they can execute that transaction. So all the transaction can be put into that buffer pool. Okay, and according to that buffer pool, they can provide the lock and put it into the lock buffer, put it in, provide the lock to that particular transaction and put it into that lock table. Okay, so that all the concurrency control can be happen at there, and then transaction can be executed at there, and again send result back to the client side. Okay, so see at here, guys. So the first user, what is user processes? See, typically transaction server consists of multiple processes. जसं आपण बघितलं की user processes, server processes, log manager process, log maintenance, buffer pool. So they are having multiple processes are there. So what is meant by user process? So user process means query may be submitted to the server processes from a user interface. See, already I am discussed that here. User processes means this is a client side, right? So here by using a user interface, we are going to send a query to the server side. But how the client and server are communicate with each other? By using this connectivity, either ODBC or JDBC. Okay, so user process means it is a client side. Here we can write a SQL query. Query may be submitted to the server process from a user interface, and from a user process running the enabled in the SQL or the via, already I am talking about that. User can connect, client can be connect with the server through JDBC or ODBC or similar protocol. Then server process, whatever the request can be sending by the user, they can receive the user query. Yes, user can be write a query and sending to the server side. But first you can connect with the server through via JDBC or ODBC. After connectivity, user can be write a query and sending to the server side. When the server can receive a query, or you can say that it is a transaction, they can execute them and send the result back. Already I am talking about that. So server can receive the query or transaction and executing in server side, execute them, and whatever the result has to be find out. So this result can send back to the server side. Okay, so the process may be multi-threaded and allowing a single process to execute several user queries concurrently, right? एक single query असेल किंवा if they are having a multiple queries. So this can be happened in the multi-threaded format. Okay, so they can allow the single process or execute the several user queries. At that time, they can using a concurrency control, and by using that, they can provide the lock and log, and by using that, they can process that query. And after processing that, they can send the result back to the client side. Okay, so then at the time of performing that concurrency control means multiple queries can be performing in the server side, so they can use some log manager process. Okay, so implement the log manager functionality that you can grant the lock, release the lock, and also you can identify some deadlock detection if any problem can be occur at here there. So everything can be performed in the lock manager process. Means if multiple processes are there, means the user can be sending, multiple client can be sending a many transaction at the server side. So at that time the concurrency control can be done. So how it can be managed? It by using lock manager processor. So they can lock manager functionality can be perform at there. They can include the lock grant, lock release. Then if some deadlock can be happen, then deadlock detection and everything can be done by using lock manager process. Then database writer process. Okay, so after performing that transaction, suppose if you have to update some record, okay, so if you have to writing a query for updating some if any record, right? So you have to write a query in the client side and sending to the server side. Server can perform that transaction, and whatever the output means after performing that transaction, that output is modify buffer block to the disk continuously, right? So whatever the after performing the successful transaction, the modification done at the database also. So the database writer process, what they have to do, the output modify buffer blocks to disk. That disk, according to that, they can be storing into that disk. Then log writer process. So log writer process, again it can be work in the server side. Server processes simply add the log record to log record buffer. Okay, log writer process means output of log record to stable storage. So what are the things can be happen in the server side? Everything can be put it into that log file. Okay, so log writer process can be put it into that log record. Then the next is a checkpoint. Perform the, okay, suppose 10 transactions are there, okay, and by using that checkpoint process, see how many transactions are executed successfully, that checkpoint. Okay, 5 transactions are done successfully, 5 are remaining. So by using checkpoint process, you can perform the periodic checking. Okay, if anything is remaining or not, what are the transactions are done successfully, what are the transactions are in a pending situation. Okay, so this checkpoint access can perform the periodic checkpoint. Okay, whether that some of the transactions are remaining, which transactions are done successfully, they can perform the periodic checkpoint are there. Then process monitor process. Monitor other process and take the recovery action if any of the other process fail. Okay, yeah. So monitor other processes. You can monitor the recovery actions if any other processes has to be failed. Means suppose abort, any transaction can be aborted, and by being the executed by a server, process can be restarting it and find out that recovery if anything can be lost or not. So this process monitor process can continuously monitor whether that every transaction can be executed successfully. If some of the deadlock and aborting of any transaction or the process can be failed, so that time the server can process and restart it. So all that things can be managed by the process monitor process. Okay, so like this way that things can be happen at there. Tomorrow's lecture we will see the transaction system processes, how it can be happen in the server side. Okay, but before whatever the things we are learn in this lecture, everything is clear or not? Please put it into the comment box. Yes guys, clear? Please put it into the comment box. Two architecture we are seen at here: client server architecture, DBMS, centralized DBMS architecture and client server architecture. Both are clear? If you have any doubt, please ask. I think now they're having Capgemini interviews are scheduled at there. So today I'm stop at here. Please, 1 minute, I'm going to take the attendance. Okay. Yeah. Yes, Prajakta and Pranali. Are you there, Prajakta? Prajakta Palse? Yeah. Am I audible, Prajakta? Please, what is your number, Prajakta? Roll number? Pranali?
Ma'am, 822.
Okay, 9th October. Pranali, you are from which division?
A division.
Division A, roll number?
22.
22. Okay, fine. Then moving to the next, that is Dhananjay. Dhananjay Mane.
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
What is
ma'am.
your name, roll number?
80, ma'am. Division B.
Division B, 80. Wow. Oh, sorry, 18.
Last number.
Okay, 80.
Last number,
Fine.
ma'am.
I can't hear you. Yes, please repeat. Yes, Dhananjay, what is your roll number?
Ma'am, last number 80.
80. Okay, okay, fine. I think Prajakta Palse mic is unmute. Prajakta, am I audible? Prajakta, put it into the comment box. What is your roll number? Yes, Prajakta. Are you there? I think she is not there. Okay. Thank you, guys.